Yes team, how are we all doing? And welcome back to the YouTube channel. I hope you are having a great day wherever you are watching this in the world. If you are new to the channel, a reminder to subscribe, hit that like button to support the channel, it really does help. And let's get into today's video. I'm going to be speaking about how many times per week should you train each muscle group, and be answering this question, keeping it simple for you, considerations for your sessions and how to get the most out of your training. Drop the video a like, let's roll the intro and get into these tips. So how many times per week should you train each muscle group? My recommendation is going to be 2. However, the studies show that it's not going to make a massive difference. If you look at meta-analyses that investigate training frequency, so the number of times per week that you are training each muscle group in relation to volume being equated. When volume is equated, it's probably not going to make a significant difference. However, one big consideration needs to be your quality of working sets, because in order to stimulate muscle growth, it is not volume that is the primary driver of muscle growth, it's mechanical tension. Now, what do we mean by this? We mean training with proper form, close enough to failure, such that it kicks off this physiological response in the body, cascades, signals to the body, here is some stimulus, we need to send proteins to that muscle fiber and increase the cross-sectional area or the length of the muscle fibers. Now, how you actually do this is through what we would refer to as effective reps, meaning the last few reps of a set where it becomes challenging that actually count. And the way you can sort of think about this or notice this is when you are going through the first few reps of a heavy working set, the speed at which you're performing them is quite consistent, right? The first 3 or 4 reps, you're going through it fine, doesn't seem that difficult. And then although you are training with the same intensity and you're really trying to pull that weight or push that weight, naturally the bar speed that you are using and the ability for you to contract that muscle will diminish slowly as fatigue builds. So when you get to the last 2, 3, 4 reps of a set and it gets hard, you can't move the weight as quick as you did at the start. And this is a good thing, because when your bar speed slows down, the force is high, because there's an inverse relationship between force and velocity relationship. At this point, you are recruiting high threshold motor units which stimulate more muscle fibers and from this point you are effectively doing effective reps. So it really is about training close enough to failure within 2 or 3 reps, say, to the point where the last few reps are becoming challenging, where you are going to stimulate more of the muscle fibers, and that is going to signal to the body, I've detected mechanical tension, we need to kick off these physiological responses that are going to then build muscle. So if you are not going close enough to failure, then you don't even get past this threshold to recruit more of the muscle fibers and actually signal that mechanical tension is there. So that aside, once we are training close enough to failure through mechanical tension, and you are progressively overloading your weights over time, meaning that you are increasing the number of reps on the same weight each week, then you increase the weight, and over time you are progressively overloading your training. These 2 key things are how you're going to build muscle in the long term, and your ability to do that is going to be dependent on your ability to recover between sessions as well. So if you are training a muscle group too many times per week, say you're doing chest 4 times a week, you're probably not going to be able to recover properly to then go and hit your big press movement the next day, the day after, and at that point you are then essentially overtraining. So there's this sweet spot where if you go up to, say, more than 3 times per week on a muscle group, you may be overtraining and not allowing yourself an ability to recover between sessions. And if you can't recover between sessions, your weights may stall or even go down, and you may actually have to take a step back from your training. So we don't want that. And at the same time, we don't want a poor quality of working set where your fatigue is built during your workout and then you come to your 4th or 5th chest exercise that day, and you can't perform that at the same intensity that you did on your first exercise of the day. So I think that is why it's practical to spread your volume across the week, 2 or 3 days max, but performing your bench press as your third or fourth chest exercise on a Monday versus the first exercise of the session, later in the week, you're probably going to get a lot more out of it by doing it on another day of the week. So I would typically recommend that you perform your volume across 2 days on average. This is not because inherently the training frequency is going to make a huge difference, but it may mean that the quality of your working sets is better overall. So if you think about 6 sets on a Monday of chest, 6 sets on a Thursday or Friday, the quality of each of those working sets could be high, training close enough to failure, you keep progressing the weights, that equals muscle growth over time. Whereas if you put all 12 of those on Monday and you see that you can't progress the 3rd or 4th exercise of that session for chest, and the weight stall, that is probably why, because it's effectively fatiguing you and the quality of your sets is worse. So that's how to set up how I would recommend setting up your training from a practical point of view. Train each muscle group roughly 2 times a week. If you have to do 1 per week for practical reasons, or that's what you prefer, you can do that as well, and it's not going to make a massive difference. But always think about this stimulus to fatigue ratio. How hard am I training? Are my weights going up over time, progressive overload? And am I able to recover between my sessions? Because if you can't recover between your sessions and your sleep is on point and your nutrition's decent, it's probably suggesting that either your training frequency is a bit too high, or you're going to need to reduce the volume slightly. So it's a balancing act between training frequency, training volume, training intensity, how close you're going to failure, and recovery. So think about it like that. Start on the lower end of volume per week per muscle group, and then work your way up when you are ensuring that you are recovering properly between sessions. Hope you found the video useful, and if you did, please drop it a like, subscribe to the channel if you are new, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. See you later, bye.